Timothy?
Great, good to see you. It's great to be back for a month.
I know it's been a little bit of a time frame going through, but it's good to be back.
Yeah, it is. Listen, welcome everybody. So happy that you're here with us right now. You know, it's a busy time of the year. We're getting ready to go into some holidays and things, and so it's great to have you guys with us. And we're going to have an uplifting show today. I think you're going to love what we're going to be talking about and sharing about and going back and forth. And the next show, of course, is going to be all the questions you've been having about psychic and medium work and myself and how that works, or however that might be for you. You're going to get that chance. So I got to ask, Daniel, how have you been? It's been a month since we last did the show. So tell me what's happening, what's new, exciting, because I know there's something good going on.
I know it's been fantastic. It's one of those things where, you know, the beginning of the year was a little bit interesting with COVID. We didn't know what was going to happen. And one of my other jobs is I actually host corporate team building events. And so the past month, people are realizing that they really need to come together and they really need to see each other's faces in not a work setting, but a little bit more of a fun interaction environment.
Yes.
So life for me has been busy on the go, which is so exciting because I am just, again, one of my jobs is to make people happy. And getting a chance.
You're so good at it too. You're good at it too.
But
I know there's going to be some people saying yes down below.
Totally. It's just been so fun just seeing a bunch of different people's faces. It's been busy and, you know, challenging, but I have asked for a better month this past month. It's been great. So how about you? Did you do anything fun for Halloween?
I did, actually. It's like I did do something fun. You know, it's fun at this time of my life. When I was young, I'd be in West Hollywood. You know, I was there for 26, 27 years. And so I lived right in town. It's like, so you go down to the boulevard, you dressed up and you got up there with hundreds and thousands of other people, you know, on the boulevard. And it was a big show and a great time, you know. Now I don't really want to do that anymore. So in Palm Springs here, it's definitely swapped. You know, I'm in my condo here, and we had these wonderful, gorgeous views outside here. So we sat in a corner. We had a projector of Young Frankenstein, and we projected on the wall. We put a white sheet on that wall and watched Young Frankenstein have all our snacks that we made and put together with a cider and, you know, all the different fun things to eat. And we sat outside on that beautiful Halloween night and underneath the olive tree and did that. So it's different.
Super exciting, and especially it was a blue moon, I think, too, right? And so the sky
was. Oh my gosh, yeah, it was really cool. It definitely had a Halloween type sky going on. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, I definitely
very good type of night. So you've been telling people how they can participate today. So it's like, and I think everyone's got the idea, but just do a quick run through on how they can join in today.
Exactly. Once again, so on the bottom of your Zoom screen, if you're not familiar with Zoom too much, there is the chat box and there is the Q&A box. So those are two separate things. Chat amongst yourselves with all of the other attendees that are out there and just comment on the show, and I'll be trying to pull you in as much as possible. And then you can also use the Q&A box to actually ask some questions of Timothy. So if we have a little bit of time, we'll get to some of the show today, but next week, we're also going to have a dedicated show about questions. So get your questions in now, because next week we're going to be able to answer all of your questions in a big Q&A session with Timothy about anything psychic medium related, or just, you know, a fun fact about Timothy that you'd like to get to know a little bit better. So that's how you can participate.
What's that last question? Yeah, so it's like, I have something exciting to tell everybody about. And it's like, I've been trying to figure out and working with some people on this to say, on how to do a psychic workshop, because I haven't done one, you know, since, let's say, February. So, and I like to usually do 2 or 3 a year. So I haven't done one. And it's like, I was thinking, how can we do it? So we have found a way to develop and create this online. So I'll be announcing it probably next Tuesday's show. It's like, I'll be able to let you know all about what's happening with this workshop and how you can be part of it. And it was nice that online, anyone can be anywhere and participate in this. So I'm very excited about that.
That is amazing. And that is the best thing about this whole, we have to work from home or be from home all the time, is I think it's brought us, it makes it easier for us to do things virtually. And it's, you know, it's much more of the norm. So it's kind of nice to be able to have that opportunity to reach a larger audience too.
It is. So many people always say, oh, I wish I could be in Palm Springs. I'd love to be there. Well, now they can.
Exactly. That's awesome.
Great. So we have a great guest next week, and we want to talk just a little bit about her because I don't want you to miss out. This incredible lady, Diana Wentworth, and she has written many books. It's not just one or two or three. She's written a lot of books, and she's had several bestsellers. You're going to recognize Chicken Soup for the Soul, the cookbook. She's part of that. She's also, of course, you know, Jack Canfield. She's also part of Chicken Soup for the Soul, for the Body and Soul. These are wonderful, incredibly best-selling books, and you know. And this one, Send Me Someone. She has written that book, and then it became a Lifetime movie. So she's going to be here with us to share, and I know you're going to just love her. She's such a sweetheart.
That is fantastic too. And then once again, next week's show is going to be all about the question and answers with Timothy too. So go ahead and start populating that Q&A box. If you don't have already, we've got one question in there. And then once again, just use the chat throughout the course of this episode as we go in here. But today, however, Timothy is going to be talking and sharing with us how we can care for our spirit energy. I'm excited for this one.
Oh, I love this one. There's so many things to talk that I could, you know, share with you, and so many things. That's why we're going to do more Q&A as we keep going. That I could share with you. And one of my favorite things is, you know, we want to know, how do we care for ourselves? And when we say that, it's like, you know, there's body, there's a mind, and there's our spirit. And what's so interesting and blows me away, and almost every reading I've ever done, and so many people, you know, we're so driven by our thinking, so that we leave this out. You know, we usually think our way through everything. And that's why we're like this half the time. We're in that, remember this? Oh,
yes, this is my favorite up here.
That's right. I always say, walk down the street like that, because that's what's inside, you know, show everybody. So, you know, and you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't want to do that. So how do we do this? You know, how do we walk free? How do we walk with a free spirit? And what's so cool is we've noticed it in our pets and our animals. We say, oh my God, the spirit of that animal is incredible, you know, or you can sense that in someone else. Oh my God, I love that spirit, that energy that person has when you're around. That's what we're talking about. So there are three things that's so important that I love. So, and when I find through years of doing this work, especially in the psychic work in particular in this way, is we want to know, everybody's like, well, what do you do about the future? What's the future look like? And I say, when we get to the end of the reading, I have my same thing every time. When you do this, it takes care of everything out there. Takes care of everything out there. But you have to do this first, and that is your spirit. It's not our thinking. It's not the body. It's like what we do in here. We want to listen to this, and then we want to take the action. Okay. So there's three actions. There are three things that we're either doing with it. We're either squashing it and subduing it. We're pushing it down and we're subduing that, you know, or we're squashing it. Or there's times in our life where hopefully we're supporting it, where, you know, we're supporting our spirit. And there's other times in our life that we open up and give it all the freedom, where my arms are stretched out as far as I can go here. I wish I could see them all on the computer, but we stretch them all out and that chest is up and we're soaring. You know, we're in love with what's happening. We love what we're doing. We're in the hot spot, you know, in that sweet spot. We're just loving life. We're in joy. You know, those moments, that's what that spirit lives for. You know, when it takes off, as we all know, almost anybody, any religion or don't religion or whatever you might be thinking, belief system, we all believe in that energy, in that spirit. And I can tell you, not for, oh, I think so or believe so, I know so, it leaves the body. And I'm not talking with someone's mind and brain when I do a medium reading. And I'm not talking with their body. I don't know how that works. But it's like, I'm talking with that spirit, that energy that was here with us, that who is our essence. And is now has left at that point. That's the one I want it to be good when it leaves. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want it to be a downer, negative, boo-hoo, bitter. So I have to work at that. So what I love is, just like in the Latin word, when you say subdued, sub means under. You know, the Latin for sub is under. So subdued, it means I'm going to take it down. You know, and some of those words are like quiet, control, you know, break down. That's what those words, that's what that means. Can you imagine? I do that with my spirit. Now, not that sometimes that can happen in our human life, but I want to try to avoid it as much as possible.
Well, I think a
Right?
lot of people do it a little bit more, even subconsciously too. Again, to use
Oh, yeah.
the word sub again too. But there's so much expectation of what we should be, or what we're supposed to be doing at a certain time, to where we kind of lose sight of what that essence of our true essence is,
Absolutely.
right? And so we do
Yep.
kind of squash or subdue it without even realizing it.
Without even realizing it, and some of it's because we're used to it. That's why I always say we're going to practice. Well, so what's the opposite? So how do I practice that? And it's practice. I got a funny one to tell you in a little while about how that works. But it's like, and so some of those examples be like your dreams, your goals, it's like things you love so much, and jobs and careers, relationship, and that can be your spirits telling you to be in it or tell you to get out of it.
Mhm.
You could be friends with them, or that don't need to be your friend. So it's like you're either in alignment with that or you're not. But that's the part that we participate. So either we squash it down and subdue it and say, no, I'm going to stay in it anyway, and I'm going to be beaten up through the process.
Mhm.
Drag me down and, take my energy. It's like, oh my God, is that the one that's going to take off one day? Or are you going to help it through that part? And maybe we could support it through that situation. But that brings me to something, say, and squashing. I'm going to give a really great example. I love this. I did a reading some years back for a gentleman, and this is about squashing, subduing a dream, something he loved more than anything. We're talking, he tells me he's a truck driver. Well, I had never had a truck driver come in before. He was on his way to some other place back the Midwest from the coast. He and his wife came in, and it was about him. She sat quiet on the other side of the room, and he sat there, and we were talking, and I started sharing with him right away. And I said, I always look for solutions. I don't want to, I've told you about where you are and what's going on here. And we've verified that. And I said right away, I said, we have I'm seeing you with dogs. I said, I'm seeing you with dogs as a solution when I asked for that. And this guy, truck driver, threw his face down into his hands and just bawled his eyes out. Because he heard that part of what was a solution and not knowing me. And we had confirmed everything else prior to this. So he was able to trust that solution. And he looks up finally after crying for like 2 minutes. He says, I used to be a dog trainer. And he said, it was the love of my life. And so, and he says, I'm going to go home and I'm going to go back and do that again. Sometimes we just get off course. So in that, that guy spent the last 8 years of his life, though, squashing it and subdued what is he really went. So now he determines his future, which was brought him to me. Yes. in a position where he wasn't feeling so great. So what I get in that, you can do that. You're deciding your future. Do you understand that?
Yeah, and you're going. You're however far you're releasing
right.
On these 3 steps. It feels like. I mean, it always kind of comes back to this. It sounds like.
Absolutely. So we do that. There's other times we're supporting. Number 2, supporting our spirit. And sometimes supporting is the only thing we do, but gosh, please do it. It comes in those places when you have illness, that when you're sick, you have illness. One of the biggest ones, of course, these are people I work with all the time, is when someone has passed, the death of a loved one, and we have to deal with that. We're having to work through that and walk through that. And there's not a way to just get around that one, and when you're sick, there's not a way to get around that either. You're in it at the moment. So our part in that, how do I support myself through that, is so important. And that might be, I need to eat. My body needs nutrition. I need to eat. And that sounds really basic, but when you're in those times, and I've been in those times, that's a big thing. But that's supporting my spirit. I don't have to push it down and hurt myself more, make myself sick, make myself have to go to a doctor now because now I'm sick because of the person who passed. I don't have to cause more problems with it, but can I support my spirit? Can I do that? And I think that's a very loving, caring, thoughtful thing to do. Now, when I do that, I determine my future. If I can do that during those times, I'm going to get better. My days will look better. Good things, better things will come in that line. If I don't do that and I want to squash myself on the problem, it was my fault. I shouldn't have done it. Why didn't I do this? You know, a lot of sucky questions.
Yeah.
Why? You know, those are sucky questions because they just make you know that something was wrong with you. You did something wrong. Unfortunately, sometimes we feel those things, and we may, and we probably will, but how can we bring it back and support my spirit? Because this is the one that's still alive and here. And if I want to connect with that person, like I say, how about I be in a good spot when I get there? Not the bitter one, I'm mad because they passed, or the one that I've been stuck in this for years. You know, it's like I'm still hurting. I hurt. It's about you, not about them anymore. But how about bringing that greeting when you meet them, that you're in a clean space, that it's loving? Makes sense?
It totally, and it even sounds like, you know, perception is reality is something that I always kind of like think about too. And instead of saying, oh, I did something wrong, I need to do this better, or I should have done that, instead of saying something like that and that light, coming back and saying, what can I do for myself? What do I need right now to make myself, give myself the ability to do better?
Absolutely. And that's it. And that's what comes in when I always say, you know, for me, it's so simple and everybody wants to pass it up because it's too simple. And it's tiny things. You know, right now, I'll tell you the truth, I have a dry mouth. And that water tastes really good. I just did some in that moment right now, loving, caring, thoughtful, instead of still me suffering through this right now. That's how simple that is.
You know what? I'm taking your lead.
There you go. So anybody else need to do that? Take one too. So in those times, number 2, support your spirit. We are squashing it or we can support it. Number 3, my favorite, is when we give it freedom. We give it freedom to what? Soar. To soar. That's when it's sweet. That's when we're having joy. We're in joy because we gave it freedom to soar. You know, chest up. There we go. Soar. I love this part. And it's like when I looked it up. Soar means rise. Stand out of respect. I love that. Stand up out of respect. Is that not incredible? Stand up. It gives me goosebumps. Stand up out of respect when you soar. You give your spirit freedom. That's, oh my God, you're respecting yourself. You're respecting that spirit that lives inside. I say, I love that. I say, climb, go up, ascend, which was perfect in what it is when it sends out of your body. So how about I let it soar now so that it continues when it's that time? And I don't think that time is a horrible thing or a negative thing. I think it's wonderful that I set myself up for a win.
Yeah.
You know, something I'm going to be happy with. So I love that. So we're either going to give it freedom. That's number 3. It's like the truck driver. When he got to the solution, decided, I've been going like this, squashing, subduing what I really want to do. And all of a sudden, wham, totally changed. He gave freedom to it. He gave himself permission to soar. Now that plays in those places like if you like riding horses, but you're not. If you want to fly, but you don't. If you'd love to go skating, but you're afraid. That's like if you want to play with kids and have a fun time and have family and get with friends, you want to have buy houses and redo them, but you don't do it. You know, it's like it's traveling, but you don't do it. You come up with a reason why you cannot go that place you love so much that you know is going to fill you up. It's like it's the same thing with friends, family. And I love this one. If intimacy, maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want time alone. Maybe your spirit's saying, I need to be around people. So what do? We reach out. A loving, caring, thoughtful thing would be to reach out. I would love to have sex, you know, and I'm not having it. Well, go have sex. You know, I'm looking for intimacy, but I don't have it. Well, work on that. You know, it's like what you said a while ago. How do I get there? Well, sometimes I need to support my spirit to get to where I soar. So I'm either going to squash it and tell it, no, we can't, and come up with some really lame reason why it's not going to happen, why I can't, and I don't feel like it or whatever. you know, but, or I can support it and think, how can I do that? Well, maybe I need to get on a dating site if I'm going to work for instance. Maybe I need to let someone know I'm even looking for somebody, you know, because nobody knows because they don't tell them.
Exactly. We're
You know?
really giving ourselves excuses for everything.
Absolutely.
And it's just
So
stopping that train of thought, right?
yes. So these are powerful. These are so powerful. So if you're doing this and you're supporting, you know, it's your choice and it's your practice that comes in here. Because if you heard this, if you caught this, those three things, I mean, squashing and subdued, breaking it down, keeping it down, or I'm supporting it, I'm giving it aid, I'm giving it some help, or I'm going to give it freedom and soar, baby. I'm on. You know, it's like, and which one of those sounds like a good place to live in? It's still not number one.
Definitely.
You know, and no one likes to be around number one. So it's like, you know, here's our part in this. So what I love in this is doing those simple things, loving, caring, thoughtful. I got to ask myself that. And when I do that and put that to the next action, I create my future for the better. If I stay in number one and maybe number two, but never even get to number three, I will create my future that I so much probably not going to want. The one I really wish I didn't have. But we do that, and it's our choice. This was given to us as a gift, and it's the life force in us. So we either give it permission to do number two and number three. That sounds kind of funny. I say, but or just or number one. Oh my God. If I wish I didn't look at your face when I said that, it made me laugh. Oh God. It's so much for that.
No, but it's really cool, you know, like, and again, it's, you know, where are you going to put yourself into the situation of this, you know, 1, 2, 3. And even if you don't think that you can be number 3 all the time,
Yep.
you know, at
Right.
least
And you
find
can't.
something to work towards that, you know, and at least giving yourself, you know, something for, I mean, I almost think of it like as, like, think of when you're about to go on vacation. You have all the stresses in the world before you go on vacation, and then you finally get there and you can just relax and just do all the things you enjoy to do. You
That's
still have to go back sometimes to reality, but you can find little ways to have vacation in your everyday life, you know, where you don't have to soar all, you know, every minute of the day, but at least you're supporting yourself to be able to get there.
Yeah, support ourselves. Just being that place is a good place, you know. I know I talked a little bit there and we got going on it. We got to wrap this up pretty soon. So that next show, which is coming real soon, it's like it's all about question and answers. So it's like, please be with us on that. I guess what I want to say is we will not be doing readings at the end of this show today. And there's a good reason. I'm practicing loving, caring, thoughtful things. I know I'm sounding kind of worked up here, but it's like I've been dealing all day with sinuses into here and up in here, and I don't do well. So I was stressing because I thought, how am I going to do this? I'm supposed to do readings. And I was like feeling worse, you know, about putting that pressure on. And I said, okay, when I have clients, I reschedule them. When I get allergies and they're bad and it's tough on me, I reschedule because I want to give the best I can do to my client. So we schedule. So we're going to kind of play that in today. And what's interesting is I didn't think of it for like 4 hours later. You know, I'm trying to figure out how to work this out still. And I said, okay, today's topic is about doing loving, caring, thoughtful things for yourself, supporting myself. I'm not going to soar in that moment, you know, because I'm not doing, but I don't have to beat myself down and put myself down and break my spirit down either, which is I spent some time doing here, telling myself it's not there. That's why I practice. But I made the change. I decided to get on board, give myself permission to support myself. Therefore, when I do them, I will be able to do a really good job, do a great job. So when we get back to it, but it's not the right kind thing to do for me today when I'm in this, okay? So I'll end with that. And I guess, Daniel, we need to say goodbye.
Yes, but you know what? Before we do that, make sure you're getting all of your questions in right now for our next show as well, because we want to have as many questions for Timothy as humanly possible as we delve into his brain and pick it and help us support ourselves so that we can soar every once in a while as well too.
Right. Yes, Daniel, absolutely. Great to be here again today. See you in a few.
Yes, and then also make sure that we are bringing a friend for next week for Diana Wentworth. You do not want to miss that at all. It's going to be a great show. We're going to have, talking about all about chicken soup for the soul and the body and soul, and her book, Send Me Someone, as well too. So all kinds of fun topics. So make sure you're there for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll see you soon.